Welcome to True Grit Southern Cooking and Canning from the foothills of North Carolina. Here we believe in cooking from scratch, growing your own food, and living a sustainable lifestyle. We hope you learn a little something today, and we're glad you joined us. Hey y'all, it's Megan again. Hope everybody's doing good, and thank you for joining me again. Today, went down to my garden and had a ton of tomatoes. Now, unfortunately, we've had a lot of rain here lately, so a lot of my tomatoes have cracked. Went ahead and picked them, but I need to do something with them now. So today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make tomato juice. Tomato juice comes in handy in the wintertime because it makes the best delicious soup, vegetable soup, or whatever you might use, a tomatoey type of soup for. So I love my homemade tomato juice. Got the stuff to store, beat all to pieces. And I'm going to show y'all how I do that today. And I just want to show y'all one other thing real quick. So when I talk about my tomato splitting, I noticed that these hillbilly tomatoes, they split, I think, the worst out of everything that I planted. They split awful. Like, I threw so many to the pigs because they had splits. But Mountain Pride, I will be planting these next year. This was our first year planting them. I did not find a one with a split spot, which is amazing because, like I said, most of them do have splits. And I mean, vines full of beautiful, red, perfect tomatoes. Mountain Pride tomatoes. I'll definitely be planting those again. Alright, now on to what we're really doing. So what you're going to need, depending on how much tomatoes you have, that's the beautiful thing about tomato juice. You can make one jar, you can make 20. It just depends on how many tomatoes you got. So I have two 5-gallon buckets full, so I'm going to be using my big pot. And what you're going to do first of all is you're going to want to put your big pot over here, and you're going to want to spray it with some non-stick spray, because we're not adding any water to it at all. We're just going to cook our tomatoes down. So let's get started. First thing you're going to want to do, I don't have my heat on my stove yet. I'm going to wait till I get a few tomatoes in there before I put my heat in. We just got to core them. Don't have to peel them, don't have to do nothing. Just make sure they're clean. I got them sitting in water. So you just core them. The bigger ones I do cut in half. Alright, I'm going to throw them in my bucket right there. That's going to go to my chickens. They will greatly appreciate that. Just put them straight in there, peeling and all, okay? One of these pretty Mountain Pride tomatoes. I just kind of cut it in a cone shape around just to get most of that core out. If you don't get it all out, it ain't the end of the world. Don't stand here and pick and try to get all that core out. It'll be all right. Also, a lot of people believe you got to have a certain kind of tomato to make tomato juice. Those Romas or, tomatoes such as that. Nah, you ain't got to. Now, granted, if I had 2 5-gallon buckets full of Romas, I would have more tomato juice than I'm going to have today. But it don't have to be a juice tomato. Just do whatever you have. So if you got tomatoes running out your ears, you just go ahead and make you a little tomato juice. Okay? Now, remember when I said doesn't really matter what kind of tomatoes you use? Guess what else I'm using? These are cherry tomatoes. Anybody that's ever planted cherry tomatoes knows it takes nothing. One plant and they're running out your ears. Well, y'all, guess what? I planted like 4 or 5. And I know this. I mean, it happens every year. But guess what's happening to these? I'm just pulling the little green thing off and throwing them in my pot. Because I have eaten all one of these. I have dehydrated a ton of them, which is another good way to keep them, like to put in soups and stuff. You need dried tomatoes. I dehydrate these little cherry tomatoes. And now I'm getting ready to make tomato juice with them. I mean, it'll add a little bit of juice anyway, and it won't be wasting. So I've got my heat on medium right now. I went ahead and cut it on after I got my pot about half full of tomatoes. Don't add anything but your tomatoes. We're going to want to give it a stir here in just a minute, but they're going to make their own liquid to be floating and cooking in there. And I will show y'all that in just a minute when I get all these tops pull out of these cherry tomatoes. Alright, so I have officially filled up my pot. I fit 2 5-gallon buckets full of tomatoes in this thing. That is awesome, which I let some of them cook down first before I added the rest. And I want to show y'all how close our juice is getting now. See there? They're cooking down, they're making their own juice. So we still got a little ways to go. And let's run outside for just a minute. Alright guys, so look here. I've got Belle. Hey Belle. And Fancy. And Star. These are our newest additions. I hope one day soon we'll start getting our own milk. So, Fancy, she's a little older, so she's a little more hard-headed. She wants to be friendly, and then she gets mad. See? And then Belle, she's really come around. We've only had them a week today, actually. So, they have come around pretty good. And hopefully, Belle's pregnant. So, while they're eating, every day, I spend at least a couple of hours with them, trying to make them love me. Belle likes to be brushed. So, I get in here and I brush her down real good. And she really enjoys that. Like I said, hopefully she's pregnant. We don't know when she's going to calf because she was just running in a pasture with a bull. So we don't know exactly when she got pregnant. But we are pretty sure she's pregnant. We just don't know when. So we're trying to get things in order so I can hopefully start milking her when she does have her calf. Because like I said, I mean, as you can see, extremely, extremely gentle. I mean, she just is. She's very, very gentle. She doesn't mind me rubbing all over her under her belly. So, yeah, it's exciting things happening. I hope to show y'all a video when I do start doing that. I'll start making different things. Like, I'm excited to make butter. Very excited about that. So, yeah, we'll see. Maybe a few months from now. I don't know yet. But, anyways, I got to get back in here to my tomatoes. All right. So our tomatoes have cooked down. Some of the last ones I put in still got a ways to go, but what you're looking for is your tomatoes to be just plumb sloppy. Like that right there. I mean, they're just falling apart. So I'm digging down in the bottom to get the ones like that. But see there? When they get like that, they're ready to strain. You're gonna need a strainer like this here. There's another word for it, but I can't remember what it is. But I bought this one here from Pretty's General Store. You can also get one that's round and has the handle built in that you turn. This one just has this that we're going to turn, okay? So we're just going to start scooping tomatoes. Alright, and after you get a few in there, start turning and mashing. And you do that until you get, pretty much all you're going to have left is skin. If you left any core, that'll stay in there. And seeds. Now, a few of the seeds will get through. Not going to hurt anything. Unless you just can't have seeds in your diet. I find making tomato juice extremely satisfying. It's just one of those things I really enjoy making. Alright, if you're feeling extremely frugal, you can take these skins, put them out on a cookie sheet, and put them in the oven on your lowest setting and let them cook till they get crispy, and then grind them in your blender to make tomato powder. That can be added to soups or anything you want a little tomato flavor in as well. Not going to be doing that today. These are also going to go to my chickens. Show you what it looks like from this angle. See, all that juice is going down into my pot. See, I'm just...
They're poking holes everywhere.
The great thing about making tomato juice is something great for your kids to get involved in. This is the best little helper in the world. Jacob loves mashing the tomato juice through the strainer. You say hello, Jacob?
Hey!
So, we're still working on this pot. We're going to have quite a bit of tomato juice. It should be enough for me to put up for the winter. And this will be It'll My tomato juice. Say hello.
Hey!
Got all my juice strained. Had some excellent helpers. My kids, they love doing this. So now I've got it in another pot, my strained juice, and we're going to bring this to a boil. Now when it starts boiling, it's going to get like a foam on top of it, and we're going to scrape that off. Alright, so this is the foam that I'm talking about. This is starting to boil. And we're going to scrape that off. And that'll go in my chicken bucket as well. See, you just scrape. Alright, our tomato juice is boiling. We've got all that foam scraped off the top for the most part. So now we're ready to go ahead and put it in our jars. So you just start putting it in. Fill your jar up almost to the top. That's going to give less room for air, less room for mold, all that good stuff, okay? And now's the time, if you wanted to filter it one more time, if you had a finer strainer, you could filter it one more time. But I don't mind, you know, some of the solids being in there. And like I said before, the seeds, they don't bother me. We're always putting hot liquid into hot jars, okay? Because if not, we don't want to be busting jars. Okay? Now, we're going to add us, I actually add 2 teaspoons of salt to my tomato juice. That's just a taste preference of mine. But you really you have to add 1. And our salt, we add a teaspoon of citric acid. You could also do lemon juice. This is just for the sole fact that you don't know how acidic your tomatoes are. So, you know, this is going to help them keep their color and make sure that your acid is at the right point for them to be safe to put in a water bath. Alright guys, well that's it for today's video. I ended up having 10 quarts of tomato juice. Now granted, I kept out several tomatoes as you see here. Some to eat on and some were just not quite ripe enough to make juice out of. So, 5-gallon bucket and a half, I'm going to say we got 10 quarts of tomato juice, so I'm pretty pleased with that. And that plus, I think I put up 8 jars last week, so about 18 jars. That'll be enough to get me through the winter, should be, until next year. So, I usually only cook soup in the wintertime anyway. So, anyways, I appreciate you watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned a little something. Hadn't subscribed to the channel, give it a consideration. It always helps me out a little bit. So, anyways, I'll talk to y'all next time.